2019 was one heck of a year. Am I right? Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? We'll find out today on Dude Soup.
We won't.
Wow, we're really going swinging for the fences, huh?
So was Jeffrey.
I like how you did the whole intro side-eyed. Like you were like,
I found the best intros are the ones that you don't write. You just say them. You throw your body around a bunch,
or even pronounce correctly. The worse it is, the better it is. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Dude Soup. I'm your host Adam Kovic, joined by the Willemses.
Hey,
Elise
Adam.
and James.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Thanks for having us.
Everyone's favorite
Married News Team. As applicable to today's episode.
Today on the show, we're talking about the biggest stories of 2019 as decided by Reddit. Probably the only website any of us go to these days to get our news. It's probably not a good sign that we get everything.
Sometimes I go to Google to give me news from other websites.
Right.
There's a lot you can glean from a GIF, Adam. Let me tell you that much.
This episode is brought to you by three fine sponsors today. First up, Trojan. You can pick up Trojan condoms at amazon.com/Trojan condoms or wherever you get your condoms. Upstart. You can hurry over to upstart.com/dude to find out how low your Upstart rate is. And finally, Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/dudesoup to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. We'll be hearing from them later. So I was combing through the news. I think the three of us mostly use Reddit for the news, right?
I do. I use Google News.
Live Journal.
I use Google News. I still go to the Live Journal. Oh no, they didn't. Which is mostly
I didn't know Live Journal was
celebrity,
still around.
some pop culture news, like
the last one.
You know,
any good like GeoCity sites or Angel Fire domains I should be on?
Just mine.
I just go to What Would Tyler Durden Do?
I used to love that site.
What's going on in the no spins? Or I don't know what the website. E-Bombs World. I think
E-Bombs World, yeah. Albino Black Sheep.
I still have an RSS feed that I use. But I realize when I'm getting the same news from like Joystick and I think Gizmodo or something like that because
all the parent companies.
Because they closed down Joystick and then you're just getting the same news doubling up in your feed. I was like, oh, this is weird.
I used to use Pop URLs, which was like an aggregate as well.
Okay. Yeah. The RSS world is dead. And now we get the news that we want. We go to the news that we want to understand. But
we make it.
Reddit is a website that I think we're just all so used to. I've been using it for like 8 years and I'm stuck on it now. The very top news story of the entire year, actually, with 214,000 upvotes, is Blizzard employees staged a walkout after the company banned a gamer for pro Hong Kong views. That was the biggest news of the year.
Well, on Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. In my small world, I don't look. There's other places I could go. I know AOL.com, Yahoo.
Dig.
What's Dig?
Dig. You remember Dig?
I know what Dig is. Actually, I'm going to look up the
Does
top
Dig
story.
still exist?
Yes, it actually does. I don't know if you can look at the top story of the year. Right now, it's just the top story is the Berwyn Ufo Incident.
Oh my God, that was wild. What?
I don't know what that is. Man, I started out on Dig, actually.
Yeah, everyone did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one
It was
where...
pre-Reddit.
That was Kevin Rose, right?
Yeah. Well, you know my favorite story about Dig.
What's that?
A friend of mine who you know, who you
Yes.
both know, was working on a cool idea for a news aggregate website. And his roommate said, "Hey, what are you working on?" He's like, "This cool new idea for our news aggregate website." And then lo and behold, my friend is not rich. And someone else is very rich.
It's very Silicon Valley.
Very Silicon Valley.
The thing, though, is Dig was top dog for the longest time. They had a weekly podcast that you'd listen to. It got popular in a weird way because I remember Kevin Rose was on Attack of the Show as a host, and he did gems of the internet. Let's check out this cool website, Dig, and it didn't disclose that it was something he was working on.
Oh.
Pretty smart. It's like, well, free advertising.
He got punished for it later on.
Did he?
No.
I know you throw me off, you man. Dig doesn't let you sort by. It's basically like a WordPress page or something like that, or like one of those websites that it's really clean. There's no sorting, there's no navigation. It's just news now.
Well, I didn't mean to distract. Sorry. The
goal.
No. We have a specific goal.
No. It's fine. The problem I found out when I was going through all the top news stories of the year, the first one being interesting. It does have a lot to do, with world politics and things. It's interesting that a video game company is in the middle of all of this. A bunch of other companies got involved too, but that was really interesting. The next two stories are Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicide, a doctor reveals. And then the third story is Jeffrey Epstein accused sex trafficker dies by suicide.
Okay.
Officials.
So those the top three are Blizzard, Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yet he was not Times Person of the Year.
Wait, who is Times
Greta
person?
Thunberg, right?
Thunberg.
Oh, is it Thunberg? I don't know. I've never heard her name pronounced.
Yeah.
I would argue it's Epstein.
Well, it's probably the
You
guards.
would.
Wouldn't it be the guards?
Oh yeah.
Or would it? Yeah, no, it's, but we did a podcast last week where Elise was talking about the future of the top games coming out. So I ended up switching gears and I was like, maybe we talk about the top news stories in gaming because the world news is kind of a downer.
Yeah.
There's another one, entire staff at 3 Sonic locations quit after wages cut to $4 an hour plus tips. Then it's a Blizzard story again. Something about Italy banning unvaccinated. So hospitals will have to post prices. Well, families, no, but
What number are we on? I thought we were going to count down the top news stories.
top news story of the year. Actor Danny Trejo saves a trapped baby from an overturned car.
I remember that.
I saw that video.
Mhm.
It's great. Have you seen this video?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like an intersection or whatever, and this car loses control and flips over. And then this guy who looks like a joke version of Danny Trejo, like white wife beater with like saggy jean shorts, like really big check, goes strutting across the street and immediately starts trying to help. It's amazing. And then when they go, that's Danny Trejo, you're like, but it looks like Danny Trejo. And they're like, yeah, because it was. And you're like, that doesn't make sense. My brain can't process
Did I
that.
ever tell you about my friend who rear-ended Morgan Freeman?
No.
That was a friend of mine from high school told me the story where he was driving down the freeway and he was like, I took my eyes off the road for like 2 seconds. I was talking to my girlfriend and traffic came to a stop and he just slammed into the car in front of him. He's knocked out. Girlfriends, they're just like in a daze. What's going on? All of a sudden, this guy
The
looks
voice
like,
of God.
a man, like he's like the 6'5" dude, tall guy, comes out, pulls me out of the car, gets her out of the car, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I can't do his voice.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Andy, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay?
It's me,
And-
Morgan Freeman.
But yeah, it was like he's like, yeah, and he was like, this guy who looked like Morgan Freeman pulled me out of my car. And it was Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
And that's pretty much how the story ended. I think the insurance companies figured it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was just like, of all people to rear end in the city of Boise, Idaho.
I want you to take him for everything he's worth.
Rip his balls off. So he said. But going down to the biggest gaming stories, starting all the way back 11 months ago, Bungie split with Activision. That's barely a year old. It's just a little getting close to a year.
And have we seen the ramifications yet?
If Destiny being on Stadia means anything, I don't know. Bungie tends to do this every 10 years or so. They are bought by somebody and then they have a big blowout and they go, we want our independence. And then they get it and then they go to someone else. So it might be a them
I think
problem.
they're going to Sony next for their next big game.
I think they're going China actually because they're taking China money.
Oh,
So yeah, but they're apparently working on a new game. We haven't seen it yet. Destiny is apparently now more in their hands. We'll probably be seeing Destiny 3. What do you think? This E3? Next E3?
Really?
I have no idea. I feel like they just got Destiny 2 to a place where people were
What
happy.
happened to the 10-year life cycles of these games?
That was more of an Activision promise. But,
Yeah.
and then fast forwarding a little bit, Borderlands 3 was announced and came out within a year. That has happened.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It just kind of came in, I mean, sort of in the vein of the Destiny type things. And we all played it. And
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
I mean, put it on and go,
Right.
yeah, it's Borderlands.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, in terms of how it evolved the franchise forward, I would say it didn't.
I didn't
don't
play it
think-
enough
but-
to know that.
I don't think people were
Maybe,
looking
but-
for it to evolve.
No,
though.
and it was just like an old comfort,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine.
I just kind of stopped playing it though. I don't know about you guys. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I something happened in the story. You get a spaceship and you move to a different planet. I just kind of stopped. I didn't have any problems with the game. I think like Control came out or something.
Yeah.
and I moved on.
I think
So,
that was the allure was like, oh, this is something that's comfortable, familiar. I do like this, but then something shiny and new came along, and it was like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
this was a good placeholder. Like that probably would have been a great game to come out in the January lull or the midsummer lull, but to be a September release when it's at the start of like all the fall games that are coming out, that big release season, probably not the best window. Though I mean, it did gangbusters. So
yeah, and it was part of the Epic Game Store EGS scam.
Oh yeah,
of the year. This has been a big year, starting with the Outer Wilds, I believe, was the first one that made the headlines because everyone thought it was Outer Worlds. That game, which was announced at last year's VGAs. What do we call the VGAs? Just Video Game Awards.
Just the Video Game Awards.
Video Game Awards, yeah. Announced then, and then the story came out like Outer Wilds would be an EGS exclusive.
Pardon me, it's just the Game Awards. Sorry.
It's just, not the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, just the Game
Awards.
Awards.
That's what I was saying. It's like, it's no longer the VGAs. But yeah, so then that's been a weird year with that we're still sort of, same thing with like Destiny. I don't really know if it's been good or bad for the industry. I don't know. I don't know. I know I still see the complaints here and there, especially on Reddit.
Well, it feels like we've moved into a state with gaming where, since there aren't like retailers reporting how many copies are sold, it's harder. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. It's like, it got 50 million downloads on Games Pass.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that worth anything? Did you succeed or did you fail? What did you want?
The understanding that I've been led to believe is that game developers are being paid what they would make, basically. They're being paid to not be on another platform and maybe even making more of a profit, but it's a guaranteed profit. So but games like Hades, from the creators of Bastion, they had a 1-year exclusive deal with EGS, and now I believe just as of yesterday when we recorded this, it went to Steam. And now I saw Kotaku do a write-up like, Hades, first impressions. I'm like, I played that thing months ago. What's going on? But
Hades is also weird too, because like every month they're like, we've dropped a new thing. This game is never ending. So we got a new thing coming out for Hades. It's got a spear now.
It's still early access too. They're still just like in the middle of developing it. Now it's on both platforms.
Except it's a full game. I played it and I'm like, this is a full game.
Yeah.
And they just keep adding more stuff.
Devil's advocate, like early access, I think that, having your game come to a different platform, having that exclusivity window is giving it a second life. It's bringing it back into the consciousness, back into press. So early access is interesting because, like a game will come out, we'll be like, this came out and it hasn't changed much until it's gone to early access. Like it's sort of the equivalent of just getting some updates, but then it gets relaunched as a full game and it's out.
And it's back in your mind.
It's back in your mind. You're thinking of it again. It happens a lot.
I mean, that happens a lot when a game gets a sequel announced. So a good example, Borderlands 3, Borderlands 2 all of a sudden shot to the top of the Steam charts. A lot of people were giving it bad reviews on Steam because it was going. There's a logic here.
Yeah.
I sometimes the body does what the mind doesn't understand.
The heart wants.
Yeah, and it's all these different organs fighting each other and go, they did a thing I don't like, so I'm going to go after a thing that it's related.
It's a classic rules of honorable war.
Okay.
Destroy the children and family of your enemies.
Right.
That's how you know you're a good guy. Just look in the mirror and say, am I attacking not the thing that I have a problem with, but the thing that's tangentially related to that? Yes, you are a good guy in this scenario. Not at all the villain.
I'm going to talk about some more gaming news stories. Definitely got E3 to talk about and some cool stuff that happened in the gaming community. But before we do that, I actually want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Hey guys, it's me, your cool uncle or guidance counselor, or really whatever you need me to be right now, because we need to have some real talk. Much like Salt and Peppa, let's talk about sex. Baby. Now, I'm not here to tell you when, where, or how to do what you do, but I do ask this of you, please be safe. Only 1 in every 3 sex acts involve a condom among singles, and you know what? That just ain't right. There is no reason to feel embarrassed by making smart choices. If you practice safe sex, to me, you're a hero. I'm being funny, but also I'm being serious. Also, studies show that less than 2% of people actually even pass any sort of judgment on doing things like buying condoms, so don't worry. And that's why today we are sponsored by Trojan, who helps everyone protect themselves from things like STDs and unintended pregnancies. It's a brand that's been around for over 100 years, and they have over 30 different varieties of products to help you choose what's right for you and your partner, because that's what's most important. So please do the right thing, have some fun, but be safe. Pick up some Trojan condoms wherever you get your condoms and have a great time. Thank you, Trojan. All right, getting back to the news stories. What would you guys rather do? Community stuff or E3? I can do either. What do you feel like?
E3. I love E3.
Baby.
Man, E3. So my two big takeaways, and let me know if I missed anything here, but I would say Breath of the Wild getting a sequel, kind of mind-blowing, and Cyberpunk.
Breath of the Wild getting a sequel is one of those things where you're like, great, see you in 3 years. Like, this doesn't, it's good to know, but it doesn't really factor into my life at the moment.
Right.
So, give me something I can dance to.
But with Nintendo, I feel like even that's like, are you kidding me? It feels like this is way too soon.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo, they're like, we will see you in 2050 when Zelda returns.
Did they give a release date on it? Is it 2020?
Is it 2021?
I mean, they're,
or maybe we
I feel
haven't
like
gotten one.
Nintendo, most game companies these days don't show you anything unless it's coming out within a year. Because otherwise, then it's, unless they're trying to drum up some excitement, like trying to get some
think of
investment.
how long it's been since Metroid 4 was announced.
And then canceled?
Didn't they just retool it?
Or yes, they're retooling it. Something like that.
Is it canceled? Do you know something that I don't know?
I know nothing.
There's still time for even bigger gamer news stories.
They were. I'll look up the story. I only remember pieces of it, but yeah, Nintendo, I believe, came out and said the game's not where we want it to be, so we've started over. And
yes.
Wow.
That's more or less what's happening. But I just feel like now, especially with the way E3 has been going, it's like it makes no sense to announce things anymore unless it is coming out that year.
Yeah.
Ever since, I mean, they were doing it a little before this, but like Fallout 4 is sort of the prime example. Yes, we've been working on this thing. We didn't say anything because there'd be nothing to show. And then it's coming out this year. And then everyone's like, yay.
Yeah. Everything's about managing the hype cycle because there's so much and there's so many ways. It used to be that it was easier to control because you'd have magazines that only published at certain times and there were like 5 of them. So like managing that. But now since you can just go online and then you'll post a trailer for your thing and then IGN will post that same exact trailer and then some Mexican channel will post that exact same trailer, except that they'll have their logo at the beginning of it.
It's IEN.
Yeah, I was going to say IEN.
Like there's no way to manage the beast. The beast is out of control.
Yeah.
So the only way to really control it is be like, okay, well, we can't put anything until we're ready to launch.
Metroid 4 announced 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. And in that span, I'm trying to think, the game GTFO just entered early access, and I believe the game was announced 3 years ago.
Really? Was it that long? 3 years?
That's what I read online. I could have that incorrect.
I know. Well, all I know is that that wherever it was like a Game Awards world premiere.
Oh, was it?
I think it was. And then I was like, that looks awesome. And then that was it.
2017.
That's all I heard from it until yesterday when you were like, by the way, GTFO's out. And I was like, what? You're like, yeah, I just saw it. It's out. And I was like,
same time as Metroid 4. When are we getting Agent? Someone get Jack Tretton on the horn right now.
What are these words you're saying?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Is that the
Agent,
Rockstar game?
yeah.
I believe they canceled that a long time.
It's long dead. It's just a joke. It's a running joke. How? Because every once in a while they'd be like, Agent's still coming.
Yeah.
It never came.
And they look at the one guy and he's like, it's not. What do you want from me?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
eventually you get into a situation like a Last Guardian where the thing that the final product looks nothing like what was originally announced. Even with like the Final Fantasy VII remake, if you look at what they showed when they announced it to what like is more recent.
The PS3 one?
The new one.
Yeah.
But the Final Fantasy VII remake
Oh, no,
is
I'm
coming.
saying, so years ago when they're showing off, I want to say it was an E3 when they're showing the PS3 off. They're like, and they're like, we're not making this.
But a what if?
Yeah, they're like, we just want to show you what we could do with PS3. We're not making this.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's the train. Everyone goes,
when can I have this?
Yeah, and then you see Cloud jump, and it does like a whole 3D cool jump, and it's like modern day Cloud. Like, we're not making it. It's not happening.
We're making
Here's
Agent.
my $1 at the pre-order.
Yeah, and pre-orders were through the roof, but they're like, they're not making it.
Yeah.
And then
I'll take 2.
Yeah. And we move to a new console life cycle. I guess I always said it was Square had the glass or the button under the glass, which was the make Final Fantasy VII button. It's like if their stock went below, like the hammer opened or the case of the hammer.
Yeah.
All right, we can do it.
Free to launch.
Yeah, stock's under $5 a share. Let's do
Yeah.
it. But I mean, yeah, that's been a wild ride too, where they finally said, okay, we're doing it. But it's not what you think. It's not the thing we weren't making before. So now it's like we're redoing the whole thing. So yeah that's been insanely wild. And then I was saying Cyberpunk was the other, I feel like, somehow kind of blew people away 2 years in a row at E3. I don't feel like that happens very often. But this was the bigger surprise to me. It was with the help of a celebrity guest, which in the past of E3 has been usually so terrible and sometimes is still very terrible. Like John Barenthal bringing his dog up on stage, which is
feels
strange.
very contrived in a way, or it feels like a payday.
Right. But Keanu Reeves
he's so genuine.
Right.
And authentic.
He's a genuine person who's been in a lot of cyberpunk type media before. So it made sense. But what we've seen from the aftermath of that is that people got the wrong impression. Like, oh, wow, people love celebrities. Like, no. They love that celebrity.
Yeah. Well, it was already a property that people were bought in on and a celebrity that people are bought in on coming together. That's going to work. But if it's a game that is no one really knows, like, what was it? Breakpoint?
That sounds like a game.
I think that was the John Barenthal game, right?
Yeah. That was the Ghost Recon.
And so, but it's like, okay, so it's the second of this other franchise that, like, I guess has an audience enough that they made another one, but it's not at all comparable to the hype for something like Cyberpunk. And then John Barenthal, who I like in almost every single thing he's in, he's really good, but he's still that guy from Walking Dead for most people, or Punisher, right? So it's like that's just two weird things, and if it doesn't match, just like gears grinding together.
There's chocolate and peanut butter, and then there's molasses and cereal, and you're like, kind of. It's not really sticking.
Hot take. I don't necessarily feel like Death Stranding was just actors getting sandwiched into a game. It felt like Hideo considers himself an auteur, and I think he is. And he really, really admired all these actors and wasn't just looking for, like, I just want a name to put in my game. He was like, I want these people because
I think it was a money grab for Nicholas Winding Refn. Yeah, they knew it would be flying off the shelves from the director of those things you didn't see. Yeah, it's like, are you telling me two people from Valhalla Rising are involved with Death Stranding?
It does feel like kind of a natural marriage to me.
Well, yeah, I always like when artistic people get a blank check, because then you can see the madness pour out of their brain.
Yeah,
and they go, you will not believe. Yes, that is the guy from Walking Dead. You're like, which one? Oh, Norman Reedus. Interesting. He's in a video game. He's like, sort of. Yeah. He acts, and you control him. You may make him pee. You're like,
he can poo as well.
Yeah. And you're looking at the bank account. You're like, you spent a lot of money on this, but you made art. So we love you. I'm looking forward to your movies. Another news story.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's interesting thinking about with Cyberpunk, that first trailer, just the lady surrounded by soldiers with blades coming out of her.
Yeah. How many years ago was that?
Where is she? Hasn't made an appearance at all in any of the trailers. And I remember, because that was up for best trailer or something at the Inside Gaming Awards, and everyone in the room was like, it's the best trailer. And I'm like, what is the game?
This is
it has
a job
nothing to do with the game.
No clip, Danny O'Dwyer, expose this.
You should not be allowed to just do whatever you want. Give me Blade, like bandaged Blade lady.
She'll be in there.
Show me her in this game, then we can talk about that trailer.
You want to see Owlman or whatever?
It's pronounced Owl Boy, but yes, show us.
There was the character who's holding the gun to her head, the spectacles. I know why they did that. They were just, I think, very excited because that came out in 2013.
Yeah.
We're different people.
Oh, yeah.
It's been almost like better half of a decade.
Yeah, I mean,
we've been waiting.
Shed all my cells. This is completely new.
Yeah, it's like the theory of teleportation, where we are new people, basically. Yeah. Whatever is remaining of us is long dead.
Yeah.
Telemarketers call me. Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, go away. But from my understanding, it was they locked the deal. It was something they were very excited about, and they wanted just to tell everyone. And they're like, we're not starting it right now, but we just want to let you know we're really excited about this. And then we heard nothing about it until 2 years ago.
Yeah. Basically. Except I was the only lone voice in the room going, it's nothing. There's nothing. You're showing us nothing.
Of course.
It's just a title.
As we've learned, we love hype as a species. We always love the idea of something more because the brain can go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll just fill it in.
Right. The poor Polish developers who are slaving away on this thing are like, I want to make your dreams come true, but there are only so many hours in the day, and my fingers don't work anymore.
Got it.
So I'm working with my elbows. Please understand. And people go, faster.
Bring more potatoes.
It's just, so from everything that we've seen, I think it's surprising. I know a lot of people were a little, I guess, maybe blown away that it was a first-person game coming from the guys who made The Witcher. And then the fact that they got a celebrity
ghost.
A ghost. So he's very prominently in the game because he's like your
digital ghost.
Yeah, he sort of falls around. The idea of the story seems really interesting. It's very 80s, super cyberpunk stuff. But it's cool, like what you were saying, James. Like it's nice when these things fit, when they go together. It sucks when they don't. So, but yeah, I think those are the two big E3 takeaways. And then we're getting a next generation reveal soon. Sony's doing their weird thing where they're like, here's the PS5 wired.
Yeah.
You may look at it and no one else, and you can write a story about how fast Spider-Man loads. And that's all we know about it so far. And that people haven't got their development kits for Scarlet yet, or they're slowly running in.
All right, well.
And there also might be another
I can't wait for them to
console.
come out and me to not have time to use any of it.
Yeah, it's going to do all the really cool things. I'm going to talk about some community stuff, but before we get there, nobody likes debt. Even famous people like Lloyd D. Debt. I'm guessing you've never heard of him? I haven't either, but man, what a terrible name to be stuck with. At least you're already ahead of that guy in that department, but just in case you need some assistance, our friends at Upstart.com are here to help. Upstart is a revolutionary lending platform that offers smarter rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. They believe that you are more than your credit score, and you are. And they actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter rate. How about that? It is fast, it's simple, and it's easy to check your rate, and it won't affect your credit score until you accept your rate. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/dude to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/dude. Thank you, Upstart. And we're back to the news. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about community stuff going on. I thought these were two really cool stories. One, PT was in the news. One of the top gaming news stories. This is a game that will also not ever go away. A camera hack revealed that in the horror classic PT, Lisa is always right behind you.
So cool.
The ghost person.
Can she get the fucking phone to ring?
I thought that was kind of interesting too, because Death Stranding is one of those things that came out of PT. The initials are the same,
Playable teaser. Is what it stands for.
Place trending. I don't know.
If you flip the letters upside down, it becomes an S and an H, Silent Hill.
You remember when he announced Phantom Pain and there was these little squares missing? People said, it's Metal Gear.
And he went, no.
Yeah.
Well, I worked on the episode of Game Trailers TV.
I know this.
Our audience might not know this, where we had Mogren, what was his name? We had
Bandage Face.
Yeah, Mogren, fuck. What's his name? It was a model that was hired to be wrapped in bandages and pretend to be the developer of this Moby Dick studio or whatever, but it was the Phantom Pain.
Joaquin Morgan.
Oh, Joaquin Morgan. Mogren. It was like shot in a hotel room.
So stupid.
Him wrapped in these bandages, and there's a great, I'll never forget it. There's a great moment in the episode where Jeff asks the guy a question, and the guy just goes. And we kept it in, and when we were all watching the edit down, everybody in the room was dying at this because it was just such a stupid thing. One of my minor contributions was that the location that it was set in, that this guy was in, was Parts Unknown, which is where the Ultimate Warrior is from. My boss is like, yeah, okay, put that in. But it was just like gibberish. But it was fun. I always think that stuff is like some of the best parts of gaming, where you can. Like, you're making really serious stuff, and people sometimes they take their what they're making way too seriously. It's art, but then Kojima, at least it felt like he has a sense of humor about it too.
I know in the leaked doc for Metal Gear Solid 2, originally they were going to call it Metal Gear Solid 3, so that the 3 lines would make an outline of the Twin Towers, where the game was supposed to take place in New York. There is a marketing doc. Obviously, 9/11 happened, changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's explained. Like, someone has to write out, like, Metal Gear Solid 2 will be called Metal Gear Solid 3. It'll be 3 lines, but it will be 2.
Yeah.
And the graphics would be two towers.
You have to read between the lines.
Yikes.
Wow.
I always wonder because every time you watch like some Metal Gear trailer or something like that, whenever you'd see him like a Subsistence trailer, he'd always be doing wordplay off of English words. I'm like, he speaks English, right? He has to. Like, there's no way this is making it in translation. I remember, when he did the whole subsistence thing, he's like, subsistence will sustain the. No, you didn't.
I love when magicians, like you have a street magician or whatever, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, and then they put the cups down, and they go, "Which one do you think the ball's under?" And you're like, "Middle one." And they're like, "What if you pick the one on the right?" And you're like, "Middle one." I'm pretty sure it's the middle one. You're like, but what if you pick the one on the right? You pick the one on the right and you go, idiot, it's the middle one.
Yeah.
I always like when any creators do that. Like they've crafted this mystery, this weaving mystery in their head, except it's nowhere near as complex as they imagined.
And you have to hit the right beats for it to play out.
Yeah.
James with magicians is simultaneously like my favorite and also least favorite thing because you're confident.
Yeah.
And you're also very perceptive. You're very analytical. And so when someone's coming at you with something, there's also that one time where a magician lied to you because I think I saw your card. I saw your card too.
To you and
Meg,
and Meg.
Who was it?
A friend of ours, Meg.
Yeah, like we both saw your card, and then when the magician was like, "Your card was the 8 of clubs," and we had seen something, we were like, and James
he
got
the suit wrong. It was I had an 8 of diamonds, and then he was like, "This is your card." And it was the 8 of hearts. And I was like, "No, mine was diamonds." And he goes, "No, it wasn't." And I was like, except I'm not a dick.
You definitely didn't.
I don't try and ruin magic when it's happening. But I just actually try and pay attention. I'm just like, oh, wow. I try and pay attention, not to spoil it for anyone else in the room, but just so I can kind of watch it and then play along. And also, for some reason, I always get picked for shit for stuff like that. So when he says, pull the card, I'm like, cool, happy to be involved. And I'll do this. And I'll watch it, let it unfold. I won't try. I'm not the kind of person who like tries to fuck with the deck. Or like, oh, I'm going to do a little thing as on the side just to fuck with you or whatever. Like,
no one
what
likes
are
a
you
heckler.
thinking of or whatever? I don't fuck with them. But then it just, for some reason, it's happened that several times magicians have fucked up around me. And then I'm like, oh, wow, or whatever.
You gain nothing by
embarrassing
a street performer, essentially. It's the age-old thing. Someone asked a question. I think it was an Ask Reddit thread, funny enough. But they asked, how can you tell if someone's like, what's an immediate red flag for any relationship? And someone said, if they're mean to a wait staff.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I couldn't agree more. If anyone goes, I'm better than you. And this person's like, yeah, no shit, magic's not real. Like, just it's the same thing I was saying, like at a haunted house. If you ever go to something and you go to the haunted house and you're gonna be the toughest guy there. And you're like, oh,
well, Elise does it. Elise does.
Oh yeah,
but she's really funny when she does it. Where she's like, because she's this tiny petite woman who's they're all targeting.
I'm also tearing down stereotypes because people always look at me and they go, "This like small blonde woman, she's definitely gonna be scared of everything." And then we'll usually have a friend with us who's like cowering in fear, and I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Like I got this." So then I go first, and then they come to me.
She mean mugs.
I mean mug them.
Yeah.
I go, not today. Not today.
But you don't do the thing where you go, piss off.
No,
you don't ruin the performance.
No. I love the haunted houses. Yeah, and I don't like. I mean, I'm mostly just doing it for whoever. And it's also funny. I also think it's funny, but not in a way where I'm trying to demean the performer.
I just noticed that if you try to act tough and cool, they'll just pick on you more. So my whole thing is like, I'm just gonna go, and then they leave me alone.
Yeah.
And then I just go, don't bite me, Pennywise. And then I move on with my life.
So a couple things. Number one, I love that. I love the Phantom Pain thing because it's like, oh, it's
great.
It's Metal Gear Solid. No, it's not. I'm afraid it's not. And you're Hideo Kojima. No, I'm not. I'm a Swedish actor with bandages on his face. Did you say actor? You're like, no. Developer. You're like, I think you said actor. And then it comes to, and then the one thing where it's like, well, let's see what you look like under those bandages. And it's basically the scene from Naked Gun where it cuts to Leslie Nielsen's chest and it's muscles. And then when it cuts back, it's Kojima pulling the last bandage off his head. It's like, it was me. And he's like, yeah, I know.
We assumed.
Cool.
And he goes, also, it's a new Metal Gear. And I like figured that out a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's all very fun.
And I know, and it sucks that we can't have fun anymore.
Yeah,
because it was my problem with Ready Player One, and they went, "Where are the hidden?" You drive backwards, like we just did it. I solved it. We're done. The internet does everything.
Yeah,
it's done.
You underestimated the capacity for human thinking.
Yeah. We're guilty of it, and there's a certain cynicism that I think tears down some of that. Just having fun, and I think bring that kind of stuff back. Do it more.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I'll end on some positives. These are something we got a lot of stories to get through, but I'm gonna focus on some good ones. The Happy Hub, who's a Twitch streamer, completed all Soulsborne games. Sorry, that's Dark Souls 1 through 3. I think Demon Souls as well. And
Demon's
Souls and Bloodborne without taking a single hit. Pretty impressive stuff. It is it's crazy to see the whole thing, but the idea was if he took even one hit, he'd have to start all over. I'm wondering if he's going to start adding Sekiro to the mix.
I just think I love the idea of him going, this is my quest. 3 a.m. lying in bed. He's like, I can't sleep. I've already tried choking myself out until I fall asleep. That didn't work. He's like, you know what I should do? Literally nothing else going on for the next year. I should do this.
Do you know how long it took him?
You can watch the entire VOD on his Twitch channel. I believe it was many hours. But yeah, it was.
Wow.
It's crazy seeing when you do the replay and chat. It's like that's one of those really cool. I feel like video game community things that I don't think you really understand. It's like the game's done quick.
Twitch plays Pokemon.
Yeah. It's those weird things where you're like, oh, I get that. That makes sense to me. These are cool things that happen. Whereas your Rob Lowe's of the world are going to go like, I don't get it, but I'm happy for you.
And it might seem silly, but it still rallies people around something that isn't destructive.
Right. It's what is
good fun.
Yeah, the thing happening today that they're the meme that they're selling.
Oh, you told me. Yeah.
Let me look it up. Sorry.
There's
our friend of the show, Freddie Wong, texted me out of nowhere and said, he said he's going to win this bidding war. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
This episode was recorded on
December 11th.
December 11th. Yeah.
I got a text from Freddie out of nowhere. Hey, I want to be clear. I'm going to bid on the five aces art. I don't want to get into a bidding war with Funhaus for this piece of internet history. I need it. And I said, what the hell are you talking about?
No one wants it.
And how can I bid?
Yeah. And he said, God damn it, no. Johnny Five Aces, Zyborn clock. I go, the original art has surfaced and the guy is selling it on eBay. The Zyborn clock. And I said, I did 2 minutes of research. I have more questions than answers.
That is very Freddie.
His reply is, Lawrence will know.
It's very, very, very Freddie.
I read up a little bit on it. So it was an idea that evolved from something awful. It was an idea to make this game about time travel, the Zyborn clock. I pulled this choice quote, what I liked. It said, only one person on the team had previous game development experience as a professional developer. He was banned from the project for criticizing it.
Oh, no.
Last I checked, it's probably way above this, but it was selling for $4,000 on eBay. I'm sure it's well above that. And it's just, it's like a child's drawing of these like 3 characters, like Johnny Five Aces. And the idea is that anything about it instantly becomes lore. Like everything is canon. So no matter if it's fan art, it's canon. It's part of it. So it's made its way into some popular media.
Anything.
Yeah,
it made its way into Fallout New Vegas. It's just one of those. It's that thing. It's like
it's a meme.
It's a meme. You get it? It's a joke.
Okay.
It's like anti-humor in a weird way. But we have all collectively come together and agreed this is a thing. It now exists because we will it so.
Got it.
Zyborn clock.
Okay.
Anyway.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That was a whole thing. I don't know how we got on that.
Do you want to hear something now depressing and dark?
I thought that was the
should I not?
thing.
No, go for it. I'd like to hear it.
That meme, that's the woman like crying and pointing at the cat, and then the cat being like,
yeah.
I recently read about the history of that meme because it's a great meme. It's funny, whatever. But it's rooted in she was telling people that she was domestically abused, and people were denying it.
By the
and
cat?
Not by the cat.
The cat didn't believe her?
I think the cat's unrelated, right?
The cat doesn't.
The cat's completely unrelated, but yeah, and so it's actually like has a pretty dark.
Most memes do.
Yeah, there was a piece of Sonic art I like to use where he's in love with the ring, and someone's like, that's a racist photo. I was like, what? It's just I thought it was funny. Sonic fan goes, no, they traced over like a blackface image, and I went, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just thought it was Sonic looking funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like I'm a charging my laser.
I'm
a firing my laser.
What's his name? Killjoy or whatever. He was here. What's his name?
Who?
He's always looking over. You draw the little things and he's got his nose. He's looking over.
I don't know.
That's from War. It's like one of the early memes, the early 20th century
He's talking
memes.
about.
You know what he is. He's got his thing. He's always looking over the fence.
All your base are belong to us.
So before then, this kind of stuff
that's
you
the
draw.
first meme.
No,
ever,
it's not.
Ever.
No, it's not. It's the kind of thing that soldiers would draw on like the walls of a destroyed cathedral in like World War One.
Memes didn't exist until I found out about it.
What was it? Something
Miserable.
something was here.
All right, I'm going to end with the what I would argue is probably the most positive story to come out of this year, potentially. Valve announced Half-Life Alyx, that in the year of our Lord 2019, Half-Life is an actual thing.
It doesn't forward the story of Gordon Freeman, though.
Doesn't matter. It is. I never thought Valve and Half-Life would show up in a sentence that ends with new game. I thought it was we had years of weird cancellations.
But can I play with a mouse and keyboard?
Why do you think this is though? For when you, because I've been trying to think about it. What's the motivation? They're a huge business.
Yeah.
They don't need to take any risks.
Yeah.
Unless they do. And why? Do you think it's happening because their controller failed? Maybe people aren't buying Vives.
Pushing the controller.
They need and they see where numbers are going. They see they can't compete with the amount of money that the Epic Game Store is throwing around. They've gotten criticized. They know most of the stuff on their platform is just garbageware stuff, knockoff. Someone's going to come calling eventually, so they need something. Or internally, is morale just so low that the people there are like, we came to you because you are a historic gaming company, and we will leave in droves if we aren't doing that. Doesn't matter if you give us free lunch.
Yeah.
Like what I'm just, part of me is like, I'm not trying to be a pessimist, even though it's a very pessimistic thing. It's cool that the game's coming out. I'm excited for everyone that's excited, and I hope it's good.
A hard release date.
But why?
I think it is that. I think it may, I'm sure the story, as most things, is more complicated than a simple one answer sort of thing. But I think it does come from internal morale, where someone said, we have all the resources in the world. We have the best of the best working in this place, and we're making MOBAs. What are we doing? It's like, we're tinkering with VR. What can we do to push things forward? And that is that thing where we'll probably never feel this in some way, but the sort of like Michael Phelps feeling, or who's it, like a Babe Ruth sort of situation, or whoever has like the most home runs, something like that, where it's like, you're at the top. There is no more going up.
What do you do?
Why set yourself up for failure?
Oh, yeah.
Like when Mr. 3000 went back. Turns out it didn't have 3000.
I would have said Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Oh man,
But-
I can't believe Funhaus is there a history where you guys have talked about Mr. 3000 a lot? I can't believe we don't really talk about that movie.
Man, it was
Great movie.
I never saw it.
Oh.
It was, for some reason, it was used for joke material at one time in my life. I don't know how.
Marty
or
Mac's
why.
wonderful. R.I.P.
No one's disputing any of that.
No,
It's
I thought it was
just-
great in the Oceans films.
Yeah.
I bet you were more of a Mr. Baseball man. Tom Selleck goes to Japan or wherever.
Different time period.
If we're talking baseball movies.
I love sports movies.
Yeah, I love baseball movies.
I love movies.
Mine's the two favorite baseball movies, at least loosely related, Naked Gun.
When he's playing in prison?
No, that's the third one. The
Yeah,
first
I
one
know.
is
The first one where he's the crappy umpire.
I love that one too. But I also love, sorry, finish it.
Oh no, it's fine. It's probably Rookie of the Year. And then,
Year's great.
and recently in my life, because Jess loves it, is
A League of Their Own. A League of Their Own's a great movie.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I
mean,
enjoy that she enjoys it.
When he's the umpire is great, but then I do also love the parody in the third one where he's escaping from prison and he's kicking out dirt from his leg on, and the pitcher's mound is like, 2 meters high because he had to. It's great.
For my money, it doesn't get any better than The Majestic. We're talking about movies.
Oh, movies about movies.
Movies.
La La Land. Yeah.
My movie about movie. I don't know. What's the Woody Allen one? Purple
Rain.
Purple Rose
Yeah.
of Cairo.
I still have never seen Purple Rain. I just heard that Prince is a real dick to his girlfriend or his fiance or whatever, and like beats her up, but he's also 4 foot something. He's like,
got
I
that-
beat you up.
He's got that cool motorcycle. Though.
Yeah, and that's really, I don't know. He died of an overdose. So Half-Life, Alex. Yes, I don't know why Valve's doing
Why
it.
are they doing it?
I would love to know. Obviously, I mean, there's that talk that Jeff Keighley did with them where they more or less were like, yeah, we've been trying something. We want to do Portal VR, wasn't really working out, and now we're doing Half-Life Alyx VR. And I think this is probably their way of not jumping all the way in and doing Half-Life 3. I think they are just sort of being like, okay, we'll do VR, which is on sort of still unproven ground, and we'll see if there's still interest in Half-Life. And if this does well and it grows VR, then maybe we move on to Half-Life 3.
Remember when Nintendo released that Zelda Arrow game?
Link's crossbow training?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yes. It was on the Wii because you could use the little Wii. Was it the zapper that you could use with it?
This is what it feels like.
Oh,
it feels
really?
like they were like, because everyone was like, the console's bigger than ever. We're ready for it. Give it to us. We want Zelda. We want Zelda. And they were like, you got it. Crossbow training. And everyone's like, and they played it.
Yeah.
They played it anyway.
I get that. Yeah, because most recently, probably the closest thing that I've seen that looks like a video game is Boneworks. From Freddie's old friend Brandon. He's one of the guys working on it at his studio. But even that, the reception's been a little mixed. Like the game, people are like, yeah, it's really good. Not much of a story. And sometimes the control's not really there. Stuff we talk about VR. There is that buried entry where you're gonna hit stuff on your desk. Like we're not quite there yet. So yeah, will Half-Life Alyx be the one that does it? Probably not. But if I trust anyone, it's probably Valve because they've been pushing so hard for VR. So those are our final thoughts. Yeah. So once again, Danny Trejo, save that person from a
great video. You should find it.
I will watch it and deep fake it.
It's a great video. It's like, where does Danny Trejo come from, and why does he look so much like Danny? So like, it looks like he just he just was there in the neighborhood and had a lawn chair and was just sitting on the lawn drinking beer, like he had nothing to do on a Tuesday afternoon. Okay. So he was just sitting in a lawn chair in some yard drinking beer, and then this car overturns. He's like, "Oh, I got to get out there."
Well, with that said, we couldn't be happier that 2019 is dead, but I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Question for all of our listeners and viewers out there. Do you need a domain, website, or an online store? Well, good news. Squarespace is here to provide you with an all-in-one platform for all the tools and templates you need to get your beautiful and efficient online presence off the ground. Squarespace is designed for any purpose, from blogs to photo galleries or calendars or commerce. Squarespace has a template for you. One of the things we always talk about here is building your online portfolio. If you're looking for a new job or you're just trying to get your name out there, getting your own website with all your work on it is very important. It's basically your new calling card. So you get that domain and you get that website, and it's easy to build. The platform includes built-in site management, allowing you to assign multiple contributors to your site and control the permissions they receive. Best of all, using Squarespace means no more plugins. With a decade's worth of experience publishing websites, you'll have all of Squarespace's search engine optimization at the tip of your fingers. Very, very handy. Squarespace recommends, if you are going to start a Squarespace website, using their partnership option. They offer a year-long comp service, so take advantage of that while you can. So check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/dudesoup to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you very much, Squarespace. All right, we're almost done with the show. I have one more thing that I want to talk about because I feel like a lot of people they ask questions. They want to. We do a little show, or we used to do one. We kind of do the comment show, open house. We originally started the show as a Q&A show back on Inside Gaming, but then it just devolved because the questions got sillier. People stopped asking real questions.
Well, we didn't necessarily want to give real answers.
Yeah,
it was a joke show.
We're facetious in nature, and so that's sort of how it devolved. But I think enough time has passed. You could always do another, sort of real life AMA. But I saw this question pop up on our subreddit, which if you don't know, we have our subreddit. We have a great community. They're fantastic. This is a question from Mostly Fake Facts, who asked this question saying, headline read, I'm trying very hard not to be ignorant. But he asked the question, how much work truly goes into Funhaus videos? I'm so confused how they are overworked and have a staff of 10 plus people. Let's assume all their filmings take an hour to set up and an hour to actually film. Clearly takes some time longer and some shorter, so we average to about an hour, 2 hours spent on filming. So then they have 6 hours to edit that video and prepare it to be posted. Obviously, they have other matters like sponsors and collabs and other channels again, but that's the type of thing that a CEO does, plus all of his other work. I 100% love this channel, but it stresses me out how stressed out they are, and I am confused how they manage to work so much, and they only put out one video a day.
Don't take offense because this person is asked. They're genuinely asking.
I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
There's a tinge of concern.
There is. I saw a bite of the lower lip there.
Oh no, it's fine. It is.
Assholes don't ask questions.
No, I'm not saying this person's an asshole at all
in
any way, shape, or form. I think it's more interesting that I get a look into our audience in a weird way, where what all you typically see is the finished product. You never actually see the meat being churned. So, like right off the bat, I could tell you, filming an episode could take longer than 2 hours. It could take less than 2 hours. With prep and all the other stuff. So like Worst Games, that's a new series we've been doing. I usually have to prep that thing the night before, sometimes the morning before, because there's a lot of different setup. Usually it doesn't take an hour to set up for a show. Sometimes we just go right into it, but sometimes it doesn't. So it kind of depends on show to show. The 6 hour per edit thing though, that's
way off.
Way off.
That's incredibly way off.
Yeah. Multiply that by about what? 3? Yeah.
At least.
At the very 18 work hours. There are only 8 hours.
I would say there's also a certain expectation that every single time every moment you're sitting at your computer is a moment you are productively working towards that one specific goal.
Right.
Right. So if you count hours that way, that these are all hours spent in a state of pure productivity, how many hours would you say maybe not a Worst Games. There we have a threshold, right? The whole channel is a balancing of things. But let's say let's just do any random gameplay. Like there's a Duck Dynasty that went up not too long ago. Just anything of the escape room. Well, even that's not a great example, but something like that.
Right.
So let's do Driver Parallel Lines.
Driver. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
One-off gameplay.
So a one-off gameplay. First of all, it was 4 of us in that gameplay, which means it required 4 of us for about, let's say 90 minutes, pre, post, prep.
There's the pre-production on that where you're trying to figure out what game to play.
Yeah. So that's a whole different bucket. This is just to make
the
Driver
game.
Parallel Lines.
This is when it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
It says do this, and you as the producer, or
it was
Elise as the producer, on that one has to go in and set up the room, set up the lights.
It's just not a hard setup.
We're not going to factor in though her time of how long it took her to find and determine that Driver Parallel Lines would be a good candidate and pick who can go into it and then coordinate on the calendar whose schedule best serves to be in that gameplay as long as to make it as funny as possible. So let's say 90 minutes for her to flip on the lights, go in the room, make sure the game is downloaded, make sure it's ready to go. We set up the chairs, we sit down, record for a little bit over an hour generally to ensure that we have enough stuff or whenever we feel that we have enough stuff. Yeah. Once it's done, transfer all that footage to a server where then it can be grabbed by an editor who probably won't touch it until days or weeks later.
Yeah. The producer will create a ticket. They're on that ticket. Then Matt Peak, the head of our editing group, will typically assign an editor to it. So now you as the producer and the editor are both on this ticket and you can track it, where it's going and when it gets moved. And then also Bones, who's in charge of our uploading and all that stuff, also has an eye on all this stuff. So he's seeing where it's all going. There's a lot of eyeballs and different moving pieces. If there's an ad sales integration tied to it, you have to make sure those are in there. But that's a whole other,
an edit happens to it, a first edit pass. And then for every video, James, Adam, or myself will sit down and give notes on that video. So I scheduled this one, so I sat down and I gave notes on it. Sometimes it can take you upwards, if a video is 15 minutes long, it can take you 30 minutes to give notes on that one particular video. And then if you think about the amount of content we pump out, that's a lot of time that you're just sitting giving notes on videos.
Yeah. I mean, I gave notes on a 10-minute comments show that took me half an hour.
And when we give notes on videos, like our editing team is obviously great, so we're adding the additional, okay, maybe you zoom here, maybe you do an effect here, maybe you do a Photoshop here. This is what the Photoshop should be.
Yeah, and that's not. That's a different sort of thing too, where the producer's on it. Where you said, "I want to make this gameplay." you didn't go in with the intention of like, these are my wild ideas that I want to do.
Yeah.
But that stuff sometimes comes in through the edit. Then you as an outside perspective who has eyeballs off of it, who hasn't been looking at it for, I don't know, 20 hours straight or whatever it's been, the editor's been looking at it, doing that first pass. You go and go, oh, this would be funny here. And they go, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
people are human. Sometimes you just don't put something
I
there,
did the Star Wars gameplay with Cameron, and we made the joke about Forrest Whitaker. I think Jacob makes the joke. Actually, no.
This gameplay hasn't come out yet.
Oh, it hasn't. Yeah, but there was a joke where I think Jacob says, "Oh, Forrest Whitaker, like something like, look at this tennis ball," and I was like, forget who cut this one. Actually, trying to remember who. May have been
Ryan.
Maybe it was Ryan. Yes, Ryan was cutting this one. They're all starting to blend in my head. But I made the joke of, well, what if it's a Photoshop of Forrest Whitaker holding a tennis ball? And he went, that's really funny. I'm like, okay, cool. We're collaborating on this. It's not, and we're just going there putting notes, and I'm like, well, move this, change this, blah, blah. And it's like, I get a little more handsy, I think, on the edits. Like I trim and move and do audio things and all that stuff. Probably shouldn't be doing that, but it's different for every producer.
Yeah, I'll do that too, especially if like somebody's newer and they don't exactly get like those hard cuts on jokes and timing. Like I will be more hands-on in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But just in terms of where the hours go.
Yeah.
Let's say that's 6 hours of pure productivity. Right? Pure unfiltered productivity, I'd say is maybe that's a good amount of time to get a cut down, to go through an hour's worth of footage and get it to 15, 20 minutes of the best bits coherently. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty safe. You have to do a lot of setting up the sequence. You have to make sure the audio is tweaked. You have to mess with the webcam a lot. Then from that point, then one of us steps in, does whatever notes and however elaborate that goes. Something like Driver Parallel Lines, it has a lot of reoccurring bits. Yeah. It's going to have a lot of Photoshops, a lot of animations and stuff like that. That process now begins, and that process is going to be another day and a half or 2 days worth of similarly effective productivity. Yeah. So all in all, that video 1 per day, that whole 1 per day video takes 3.5 days to make come to fruition. Yeah. And then we also don't just do 1 video per day, because on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we do 2 videos. And so
for the last 8 weeks, we've been putting up a second video on Wednesdays for the Arizona Circle sketch.
Yes. Yeah. Don't discount the fact that Arizona Circle has also partially been being cut out of our offices as well. So those are which are entirely different beasts. The time it takes to cut narrative content, you probably want to double or triple everything that goes into this. So there's that whole aspect of it too. Then just in terms of our time, we did that one recording, Driver Parallel Lines, and that got passed off. But what we also have to do today is a podcast. So whereas Driver recorded in the morning, the podcast, whoever's producing it, in this case Adam, had to spend the rest of time prepping for the podcast, figuring out what the topic's going to be, gathering the ads, translating the ads from whatever they've sent us to something that you guys might actually want to listen to.
Right, comes through in your own voice, and
relating it, figuring out if what the product's like, how we can best make sure you guys are interested in the product, and everything like that.
Yeah, so this is a job producer. There was the misconception that so we don't have a CEO who works in this office. We don't have a CEO that I see ever. I don't think any of us deal with a CEO. So when it comes to things like collaborations and sponsorships, that's all of us. That's usually the 3 of us at this table who handle most of that stuff. And Omar, who you don't see.
Omar is like a coordinator for all of that, because there's so much. Plus, Omar deals with Inside Gaming, too, and anything else that comes through Rooster Teeth West, which are other things not even related to those.
Production is not even related to us.
Yeah, I don't know if a CEO would ever be in charge of a collaboration of any type, but that's usually one of us either reaching out to someone or them reaching out to us. Elisa's great at it. She had Mike Huber was just here last week. Yeah, I think you're probably the best at fighting collaborations. But then there's the things like Joey Ryan or Freddie's in town or something like that. What's that?
Elise also got that. She just handed it to me.
Oh, sorry. For some reason I thought you got that one. I'm used to giving you points for things Elise did for you.
Yes, that's how I've gotten as far as I have. In fact,
I mean, there's just so much like phantom stuff because then there's the deployment side of that video, which is thumbnail,
title,
and then we have Bones who works out of SF, and he's handling titling, he's handling description for the most part. There's the exception like podcast. If I'm producing the podcast, I try to help him out because it's an hour-long piece of content. So I'll help him out with description and tags and stuff. Because I don't want him to have to dive into that. But he's handling that for every video.
Then within that process too, there is the basically QC where YouTube goes, hey, this got flagged.
Yeah.
This thing, there's some copywritten stuff when we have to fight it and they go, nope, you don't win. We go, okay, well now we got to remove it. And so then there is the back and forth of you have to deal with those sorts of things.
Yeah. So. Thumbnails, the whole thing. And you've been doing a lot of thumbnails lately.
I've been doing thumbnails for, I think, most of my YouTube career, which I really enjoy doing and I almost never have time to do. There's always been an argument that they're very important. They are time consuming. Yeah. I always say it's like doing a political cartoon, but there are really lazy political cartoons where they go, this giant pencil's debt. And this hand is welfare, and it just says it on it. And I go, and then there's a picture of the guy in the corner being like, "Debt's bad."
Let's erase Smart. Debt, and the eraser is missing on the pencil, and you're like, "What?"
Right. Yeah, I
that's
think,
pretty clever.
I think this is smart. So yeah, it's like, and we did a whole YouTube A/B testing thing where the feedback that came back was, putting text on thumbnails is probably not as important as you need it to be. So it's like, okay, so that is even more of a challenge where you have to create these sort of interesting,
a visual.
Yeah, a very interesting, unique visual. And then like sometimes you'll get called out by the community where like, you copied someone else's work. It's like, I don't have time to look at our own YouTube channel. I don't know. So it's like.
That's something that will happen to me is like, well, they'll be like, so-and-so channel played this game. And I'm like, I am not to and no, it's not a slight to the word them, but like, I have never heard of them.
Right.
It's just these are the games that either are like popular on Steam or they just got released or like, whatever.
So all of that is for one video.
Yeah.
And then that basically what happens is those things stack up. So when you're in that process with one video, you're in a different process with another video. All of those, when you're in a different process with another video, you're a different. So everything's in different phases every single day. And then there's the big ongoing thing. Is there a bigger thing we want to try? Is there, God forbid, a new show? Adam has an idea for a new show.
Do I?
And is that something he wants to try? Where do we find time? Because we've only allotted the time.
There's travel like. Toward the end of October, we went to Austin for just some general meetings we had to do. And then in November, we went twice for Extra. Well, you guys went twice for Extra Life. And then you guys went again for a secret show that you were shooting that we can't talk about yet, but it's very exciting. But it also took a lot of pre-pro for that secret show. And, nothing just materializes out of thin air. You got to put time into this stuff. We do a lot of meetings. Omar
has a lot of meetings. We have a lot of meetings. We have a lot of meetings with just the four of us.
Yeah.
So like
ad sales are always a discussion, constant discussion throughout the day for us.
Brainstorming.
There's
whatever the next thing is.
Well, so like I'm one of the funniest days I had last week. I was trying to do notes with Ryan. I think it was for the Star Wars video, and Matt Peak messaged me and he's like, "Hey, do you have time?" I'm like, I literally have 30 minutes right now. Because going through my schedule, it was basically eye tracker at 10, and then with the Arizona Watch thing at 11:30, and then that went into a brand sync that was at 1:30 meeting, and then there was a collaboration shoot that we're doing from 2 to 4. And then there was something else going on at the exact time. Oh, playing Jackbox, that was going on. Oh yeah, so we did Jackbox and Mrs. Doubtfire thing, and then the Dominoes thing. And every free second I had, I was like, I'm Ryan, which sucks because I'm ruining his flow because he's already working on another edit. He's not just sitting there twiddling his thumbs. He's already moved on to the next project.
Yeah.
He's waiting on me to go through because I'm like, I really want to give notes on this video because I'm the one who produced it. We have a celebrity guest in it. I want to make sure it's right by him. And I want it to be funny. At the end of the day, I want it to just be a really good video. And so I want to give it all my attention, but I don't have the time. So like it was just a crazy day, but I'm glad because I got it done. Because like we finally, by the end of the day, I'm like, cool, I did it. Like the last hour of the day, I was like, I finally got to knock it all out. But that's just sort of normal. And I do want to address the fact that I guess maybe we do seem stressed, but it's the job is stressful, but it's manageable stress, I guess. Maybe
bring it on ourselves too.
I get pretty stressed trying to brainstorm ideas on how all of us can be less stressed.
The ultimate irony.
Like we just delivered the last episode of Arizona Circle, so I'm out of the post process on that show. Mm-hmm. So my life's going to change a lot because of how it's been the last few months. Because my life's been a lot of like, I've seen those episodes a billion times because I've rewatched the cuts a billion times to give notes upon notes upon notes, or like, there's just so much of a process until like that show. So
also
that was
a
like
lot
a
of
second
that
part-time job
you did at home.
Yeah,
we would go home from this job and then you would open up your laptop, and
which I'm
do that,
like,
even though it's all the same job.
Obviously loved it.
I have as long as I've been working in this industry, I always thought the mindset was, 9 to 6 you're working, you go home, turn the phone off. It's never once been true in my life. I am typically always working, but it's weird. It's like it's a job I really like. I like doing this stuff, and a lot of it is. This is a really weird job where your own name is on the line in a weird way. So like when I'm giving notes on a video or we have an idea for a show, it's not so much as it's just reflecting a brand. It's reflecting you, and so you have to be a lot. You have to put that extra care into it.
Yeah,
and I think that's the thing that maybe comes off as stress, but it's more of just like. Understand it's also care.
It's like steak. There's a stake in the content that we make. Like if we're just turning out whatever, it feels like it's like is that all we are capable of?
No.
Like I don't think so. So
it's just a lot. It's a lot of little things that you would never think of. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to produce this eye tracker show, so I need to spend some time dredging the internet for weird, shitty photos, or I need to like think like I need to just. A lot of it's just thinking like, how am I going to get Adam with this eye tracker? Like really thinking about it, which. Those slides shows just don't materialize. Like they like thought and an intern doesn't put them together. Like Adam or I like have been putting them together. Stuff like I'm trying to think of like other weird stuff that I've had lately. Like
I had to put a beard on those abs.
Oh yeah, you put the beard on. The
I couldn't find the image that I wanted to find, so I had to make it.
It is one of the things that I love about this job, and I guess could be seen as a negative or something. But it's like. It's almost different every day.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of the same things, but you're being pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
Like the thing we shot in Austin was completely different, but it was only a couple days that we did it. But it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, it's good to take a break from your normal day to day and move into something different. We just redesigned a bunch of our rooms here. Like we redid all the cabling.
You and Omar worked like crazy hours. But
it was like weekends. Stuff we didn't have to do that stuff, but I wanted to. And I know
some of it is you put in the effort now, and the hope is that.
It turns into
when
something
we jump
later.
in there later, we can use it in a new way that is more effective.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, just full disclosure, want to de-stress this job.
Yeah.
I want it to feel less stressful because, people have different tolerances for stress. People react to it in different ways. Everyone's justified in feeling that way. We've seen this year that people have different reactions to it and can only want to tolerate certain amounts of it before it's not worth doing anymore. Mm-hmm. So like, there's a lot to understanding that, and I would like to make it de-stress. But ultimately, the big thing too is the reason we work at this pace is because we have to continue to make money. If we don't make money, then people here stop being able to work here, including us. So, you fight for it.
Yeah, it is. It's always that sad part when you go, well, it is a business, but it's a business I really like, and I really like this job, and it's cool that I can find joy in this, and I hope it's bringing some people joy. And it isn't just a soulless corporation. I don't ever want to. I mean, we're not a soulless corporation. Yeah. We are people.
It is one of those things where like I don't have ownership stake in this company, but it's a weird thing where like I have so much personal ownership into it, and making sure that everyone here like feels secure in their jobs and stuff. Like, which is a strange, it's not your startup. It's a weird, I guess, mentality to have, but it's, I think, the pride we take into it. That being said, I just got a new laptop from Rooster Teeth, and I tried to install Premiere on it today, and it told me that the operating system couldn't. So,
oh boy.
I mean, what's wrong with Windows 7? I'm just,
Windows Mobile.
Yeah, the good one. We should look into that. Anyway, I didn't want to go that long. Obviously, I think. We love to talk about ourselves, as most people do.
Yep.
I wouldn't say our jobs are like super interesting or anything like that, but I think there is maybe some confusion sometimes as to how things are produced here. And there was one comment in here. Maybe they ended up deleting it. But
get him. Sick him, Adam.
No. I did take some issue with it where someone did call. They called us lazy.
That was me.
And I said, you can call me lazy all day. Don't call any of the people I work with lazy because everyone here is working their asses off, and I couldn't be happier to be working with you guys and everyone else in this group because you're making some great stuff. And we've had some new additions recently, and they've all been kicking ass. And I feel like a proud father. I'm just like, everyone is...
Except they're not your kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't have kids. That's what it is. That's what it is. We're basically, we're like...
You're my surrogate children.
We're parents of something that we
We're
aren't
cool
the parents of.
stepdads.
Look, I put
We
my
have no
balls on the
state.
microwave like everyone else because it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get out of here. We went a little long. Sorry about that. But I hope you guys got a cool little peek, behind the curtain of how things work here. And
We try and do that more often.
maybe, yeah. Whatever.
State of affairs.
We can do whatever we want.
We're going to do whatever we want. We own this place.
That's right. Let's
State of
burn
the
it down.
Onion.
Omar, what do you want to do? We own it.
Let's go home.
Oh, no, I think we have two recordings.
We're
left.
getting opinions.
No, yeah, we got. Oh, dear.
All right,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
good. Sorry about your ears.
Sorry.
Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. And do
my
me a big
sweater.
favor. If you enjoy watching the show and you want to check it out on the go, subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, or tell a friend if you enjoy these sorts of things. And let us know if you like these sort of things where we, show you a
Also,
little bit.
just a
what's
heads
going on.
up, I'm wearing this for the first time for this podcast. I walked in here, it was a little cold. This is so comfy.
It's a nice company.
This is really
My
good.
shirt feels great too.
Don't buy her
How did you-
thing.
how did you just
if you're
age?
looking for something, I'm just genuine recommendation. This is really, really nice.
Anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, weekend, or afternoon.
I feel like so often we drift away from like gaming, but you always kind of found a way to say like, no, like gaming can exist with the comedy. We don't have to forego one for the other. And I think like based off the game choices you made, the kinds of jokes that you make, the character that you portray in Funhaus,